This is the podcast to improve your English listening skills while learning something new in English. Every episode, we bring you interesting topics in simple and clear English, so you can listen, learn, and grow. So, sit back, relax, and let's get started.
Have you ever, just looked up at the moon and thought about those shadowy shapes and how they almost look like they could be telling a story? Well, someone sent us a fascinating legend from Sunda, West Java, and it's all about the moon. It's called the Legenda Nini Anteh.
Oh, wow.
And so today we're gonna take a deep dive into this legend and see what it tells us about the people and the culture and the beliefs, that created it.
You know, it is really amazing how humans across cultures and throughout history have always tried to find explanations for what they see in the cosmos.
Yeah.
And usually it's in the form of stories and myths.
Right.
And this legend of Nini Anteh is just a really beautiful example of that human need to kind of connect with the universe.
Yeah.
Through narrative and storytelling.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's jump right in. So picture this. We're in the ancient Sunda kingdom.
Okay.
And there's this young woman named Anteh. She's an orphan, but she was raised in the palace by the queen. And she's known all throughout the land for her kindness, her beauty, and her incredible skill in weaving.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and I almost forgot. She also has this beloved cat named Sing, who's always by her side.
Oh, love that.
I know, right? Okay, so here's where the story gets interesting. The king, he sees Anteh and he's completely captivated by her. And he decides that he wants to marry her.
Of course he does.
Right. But Anteh, she's already in love.
Oh.
But not with the king. She's in love with a common weaver. And she also feels like, because of her background, because she's an orphan, that she's just not worthy of becoming queen.
So she's caught in a real dilemma then.
Yeah, a huge dilemma. Like, how do you say no to the king?
Exactly.
Right. So what does she do? Well, in her distress, Anteh prays. She prays for guidance. And then something miraculous happens.
What's that?
Anteh and her faithful cat Sing, they're lifted up, all the way to the moon.
Wow, that's so magical. This element of the extraordinary, it's so typical of legends, isn't it?
Yeah.
It takes the story beyond just everyday life and makes it, something you really want to believe in. And the people of Sunda, they believe that Nini Anteh is still up there on the moon, weaving with her cat Sing by her side.
I love that.
And those shadows that we see on the moon, the legend says those are their shadows. Nini Anteh and Sing, up there in the moon, weaving away.
It really is such a beautiful and vivid image. But beyond this cool story, what do you think this legend is trying to tell us? Like, what are its core values,
Well, one of the first things that jumps out at me is this really strong emphasis on loyalty. Staying true to yourself.
Right.
Anteh, she chose to listen to her heart, even though it meant turning down the king, turning down immense power and privilege.
Yeah, she totally did.
And I think that says something about the values of the Sundanese people, It suggests that maybe genuine relationships and true love were more important than social status.
Yeah, and that's something we could all probably think a little bit more about today, right? Because our society is pretty focused on status and things like that.
For sure.
And it also took a lot of courage for Anteh to choose her own path. I mean, she could have been queen.
Absolutely. To go against those kinds of expectations takes real strength.
Right. It makes you think about the times in your own life when you've maybe had to make difficult choices, when you had to choose between what other people expected of you and what you really wanted for yourself.
Exactly. That's a dilemma that's relevant to everyone, no matter what time period you're in. And this legend also really emphasizes the beauty and value of simple love. Anteh chose a humble life with the person she loved over a life of luxury and power as queen.
And that's just such a powerful reminder that you can't buy true love, right? It's something much deeper than that.
Exactly.
But we also have to think about how this legend fits into Sundanese culture, right?
Yes, definitely.
It's not just a nice story, it's also their way of explaining something they saw in the natural world. The shadows on the moon.
That's so true. Many cultures have these kinds of myths.
Right.
They use them to explain natural phenomena. It's part of their traditional beliefs.
Yeah, and these stories often reinforce those beliefs and help people understand the world around them.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess to wrap up, the legend of Nini Anteh is this beautiful reminder that happiness comes from within, It's about having the courage to be yourself and to follow your heart.
And it's about the power of real love.
Exactly. And it's a perfect example of how cultures use storytelling to connect with the universe and explain those things that we maybe don't quite understand.
It really makes you think about all the other myths and legends out there that try to explain the natural world, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
What kinds of values do those stories teach? And how do they shape our understanding of the world, even today?
That's a great question for all our listeners to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe.